What's up, YouTube? It's Paul with Just Start Gardening. Today I want to show you and talk about Comfrey. Now, if you have been on gardening YouTube or permaculture content, anything like that, you've heard about Comfrey. You've probably seen some stuff like this. I'm going to do it. So here in front of me I have two Comfrey plants. Originally one Comfrey plant. Very easy to propagate. I'm gonna get down in there and I'd like to show you what the roots look like and talk a little bit about why it's important and why you should grow it. So this dinosaur skin looking plant is Comfrey. In permaculture, we call this a dynamic accumulator. It has a very deep root, it goes straight down, grabs a little bit of everything on the way, and brings it up to the soil, and goes right to the leaves. Now, one of the cool things about Comfrey is you can use it as a fertilizer. As simple as cutting it, dropping it down around the plants you want to feed. You can be brutal with it. You can take all the leaves right off. And this is a young plant. This one's really young. In 2 months, it'll probably be, I don't know, 2.5, 3 feet wide and probably 2-3 feet tall, maybe, with some purple flowers that look like bells. They kind of hang down. Bees love it. This is, I believe it's called Bocking 14. It's a Russian Comfrey. It does not seed. If you have seeding Comfrey, you will have this all over your yard. It still spreads a lot just by the taproot, and I'm gonna show you that now. Now these leaves, very valuable. Put them around everything. It is just an incredible plant. You can use it to kickstart your compost. I like to soak it in rainwater in a bucket. But really, it is as simple as chopping it and dropping it. Now, I'm gonna try and get in here and show you what this root looks like. Maybe I can get this little guy next to it, next to this. Let's get in here. My dog's going a little crazy over there, trying to get some chicken tendies. So yeah, I just broke the root, and that will definitely be another plant, and that is fine by me. Look at this thick taproot. This root right here, this will easily become another plant. Easily, without a doubt. Comfrey definitely multiplies. I could take this and I could even break that all. I could plant this and I'll have more Comfrey. It's something I have all over my yard, and it's just too beneficial to not let it spread. I let it spread because I can cut it down as much as I want. Maybe 3 or 4 times a year, I get a harvest of leaves. Hopefully when it's a lot bigger than this, that way I can get more use. But this is an awesome plant. Again, it's called a dynamic accumulator. And one of my favorite things to do with Comfrey, besides chop and drop, is I soak it in this rainwater. I take these leaves and I'll just drop them in there. And it is literally as simple as that. Powerful stuff. This is just rainwater that I collect. It stinks. And in there I have biochar. I just soak it. I take about a cup and I add it to 2 gallons of water and I fertilize with it. And it seems to be awesome. No complaints. Now over here, this little stick I have is a Honeycrisp apple. And it has nothing around it. It's lonely. So I'm gonna take this little root here, bottom side down, and I'm just gonna stick it at the base of my apple tree. Very simple. It will definitely become a plant. Now this Honeycrisp apple was bare root. I just planted it maybe a month ago, and I have not got around to giving it any companions yet. But Comfrey will be perfect around a bare root fruit tree. When I come through and I chop it later this summer, some of this will die off because it will not be able to be sustained when I take the leaves away. But it will always come back. It will continue to give me that dynamic accumulating green growth on top that I will just chop, boom, boom, boom. I'll take the wood chips. I need a lot more wood chips around this tree here. But one of the interesting things about wood chips, this is wet. This is wet soil on top of these wood chips. Dry, very, very dry. Very dry. It's kind of horrible looking when you just look at it on top. But once you get down in there, you see the importance. You see moisture. Let me give you a better look here. All right, so I'm gonna take this root. I'm gonna make sure, I believe it went that way. One of the things you wanna do is make sure you know up and down on your plants before you put them down on the ground, especially your roots. So I'm just gonna take this, very simple, and boom, that will turn into another full-grown comfrey plant, and it will fertilize this Honeycrisp apple tree. Now, while we're on the topic of dynamic accumulators and comfrey, I want to show another dynamic accumulator that a lot of people do not like. This dandelion. Notice this deep taproot on the dandelion. That is also a dynamic accumulator. I will do the same thing with this. I could have chopped it, I could have dropped it, but I'm gonna throw this in my compost tea. And all of the macronutrients, micronutrients that these roots have accumulated and put into these leaves are gonna go to all my other plants in my yard. Not waste. Now we're back where I started, and I would like to get the rest of this out. And look at that. Big old fat root, man. I have this all over my yard. This right here, easy. That is a plant. That is maybe 5 plants, easily 5 plants. Now, if you're into gardening with perennials, it's very important and will save you a lot of money if you can learn to propagate and clone your plants. Comfrey is one of the easiest ones. Jerusalem artichokes, man, you plant 1 Jerusalem artichoke, the next season you're gonna have 12. I love to divide hostas. I have hostas all over my yard. I probably moved them to 50 different places this winter. Things like that grow prolifically, grow like weeds, and multiply, are awesome plants. They're good for giving away. They're good for fertilizing. They're great for chopping and dropping. They give you biomass, and they feed your garden. Now, comfrey does have some medicinal purposes. I believe salves, poultices. They say it heals bones. I don't know if I believe in all that, you know, but I know my chickens love it. My plants love it. I don't know if it's gonna fix a broken wrist. I don't know. I have no idea. I hope I never find out. I've never broken a bone. I'm lucky. But I'm gonna put the ones that I just pulled up, I'm gonna put them near my chicken coop, and they're gonna love it. Now, what more can you ask for in a plant? It feeds all your other plants. It's a prolific grower. It's pretty too. This summer I will show you when it's larger. Chickens eat it. Takes nothing. I am very rough with this plant. And I started with 5. Literally, this little root right here, the little one, that's about what I started with. I had about 5 of them. Maybe this, you know, I had about 5 of them. Now I have it all over my yard. Happily all over my yard. Sure, it could potentially be invasive. But when you're looking for a plant that you can cut, chop, drop, feed to your animals, I mean, you couldn't ask for more. It's just an amazing plant. And it grows great in Georgia. And I'm happy with it. Now, to the best of my knowledge, comfrey is not a plant you want to eat. My chickens don't seem to mind it. Chickens are really good about eating what they're, able to. And as far as I know, comfrey can damage your liver, which is probably why it is such a good dynamic accumulator, good fertilizer, because it's full of nutrients. Just knocks you out. I don't think it's something you want to eat. So in the next couple weeks, I will be doing more videos on chop and drop. I have some clover, the comfrey. I'm actually trying to get dandelion up on the hill and out of my grass. And yeah, I'll go over that. I'd really like to show some nitrogen fixers. I have clover. I like the way clover looks. I like the flowers. But before some of my clover flowers, I like to give it the old chop. And then when the time comes, I'll pull up the clover and I'll show you the nitrogen nodules that are down along the roots on the inside. Kind of explain why it's important to trap the nitrogen from the air, keep it down in your ground. And, you don't need to kill some of these plants. I get some people don't want them in their grass. They can take over and they can spread. But I use everything. Once you get a compost, everything's a resource. And it's easy to remember one simple thing you can do with comfrey. Chop and drop. Breaks down very quickly. It's very efficient. Do that a couple times a year, and each time it will get bigger and bigger. Pretty sweet plant. Now there are other plants that does what comfrey does, but I have not found one as prolific and easy to grow as comfrey. I put it all around my fruit trees and I chop and drop. Even if you don't like the way it looks, it's worth having, just because you can be brutal to this thing, man. You can be brutal. So this is another apple tree. Hopefully this comfrey takes, which it will, and I can use it for a chop and drop. Pretty sweet plant.